Three, two, one. Oh, we're streaming. We are streaming. We're on.
Good afternoon, everyone. We move. Welcome to the monthly meeting.
Talk through my you mute, yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to monthly meeting of Athens in Motion Commission. We're in a different room right now, so we're just navigating those fun technical challenges. Hope everyone is thawed out, or at least mostly thawed. I'll share my screen. All right. And see my agenda. We're going to do roll call. Warren, Art,
Online.
Teresa, Randy, Alan, Ed, Thompson, Blaine. Blaine's here. Where'd he go?
He just
Oh,
stepped
yeah,
out.
he's here. Gabriella, Aaron.
Yes.
All right, we have a quorum. And then staff here today, we've got Daniel, Katie, Jeremy's here, Todd is here, and Scott is here. I think that's everyone. Daniel, any public comment?
No.
All right.
Did you say Gabriella was here? No. Okay.
All right. And so today, just to give staff a heads up, I have front-loaded staff updates, the general updates for like park planning and transit. And if y'all are not ready or you need more time, we can certainly push that down. Just let us know. So we'll go ahead and go through the quick updates before we get into some do a deep dive into some other items like the plan revision. I think I wanted to move up 2 spots, 2026, that's fine. Crash report and beta version of Vision Zero dashboard. So yeah, any changes? Anything we need to move around? I'll entertain a motion to approve our agenda for today. First from Aaron, second from Randy. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Next, our minutes from December, which was our annual meeting. Thank you, Blaine, for getting this together. Let's see that. I used to know how to use my computer. Great. We welcomed Aaron back. We are now defined as created by ordinance. And we had some updates on Barber and plan revision. And staff. So we talked about the service changes for transit. I believe that was it. We are in review. So any corrections to our minutes from December? All right, motion first from Alan, second from Aaron. Further discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving right along.
The video wasn't online.
Oh yeah, we had that. We had some technical difficulties with that. All right, so if staff are ready, we'll move into general updates. Todd, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'll share my screen. So can you see the Firefly?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So they are about 95% complete on segments 1 and 2, which is Hancock Road to Moss Road and Athena Drive area. They're beginning to install the red concrete that, you know, basically takes us up to the road crossings, or the colored concrete. So that's in progress. Currently, they've got one of the stream culverts replaced, and they're in the process of replacing the second, the larger one. That's on segment 3. And then right now, the anticipated completion of the trail is up to the Oakmont subdivision is end of March. They've had some weather delays and Georgia Power moving guy wires and poles and stuff. So we've extended their deadline to March. And then the manager's office is addressing the remaining property owners' request. And so once those are complete, then we'll finish out the trail to Winterville. So, but that's the major thing that we have going on right now. The other projects are way off. The MLK Greenway, we're still doing reports and just getting started to do the design work and that kind of stuff. So it's not anything really to report on it at this point because nothing has been designed.
Well, that sounds good. Manager's office is addressing remaining property owners' requests. I mean, I know there's not much we can say beyond that, but hope that's going well.
Yeah.
Sounds like something is happening.
Correct.
Excited for that.
So, but that's all I have for today, unless you have something else you need.
Wonderful. Yeah. All right. Well, oh, Todd, did I hear that you designed the trails at Jekyll? Is that right?
I did.
Yes. I was on them recently, and Daniel had told me that you designed them, and they were wonderful.
Yeah, I did the bike trails and then the historic district.
Wow.
So, and then the one out on the causeway that goes to nowhere really now, but
Okay, I didn't get to go on that one.
yeah, supposedly eventually it's gonna go all the way the length of the causeway and then connect up to the East Coast Greenway, which will go along the at the end of the causeway. So
Nice, yeah. When did you design those trails?
the 2004, 2000, so we're in that ballpark. So
Those were great. It was my first time on them, and I took my partner who doesn't do a whole lot of riding, but he was just thrilled. And it was a great mix of nature and history, and it seems like you can just park on the island and you could just leave your car and just really could bike anywhere, even if you're not a regular, even if you don't consider yourself a cyclist.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah. That was the whole reason we went to Jekyll, Todd, is for the biking.
okay.
Yeah, that's why we're down there like, oh, 24 miles of trail?
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have any friends back there, tell them it wasn't the beach village that brought us. Was the biking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful down there, Todd. Thank you. And so that's just so awesome that we have you also up here. Ha ha ha.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. And y'all, if you haven't been down in Jekyll in a minute, like, it's great. It's really nice. It's very accessible. Okay. All right. Thank you, Todd.
And I would say it's great for birding.
Mhm. Mhm.
One of the best pinball places in the world. Yeah. In Brunswick.
Oh.
My apartment.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, my kicking. Oh, sorry. Aaron.
All right, transit, any updates, Jeremy?
You're muted if you're speaking.
Maybe we'll come back to them.
Oh, there we go. You wanna
Hello. Hello, everyone. So, on the transit side of things, we implemented our winter service change on January the 12th. It went for the most part, it went pretty smoothly. Of course, with everything that's newly implemented, there were a few hiccups. So those hiccups have been addressed, and we are monitoring constantly throughout this entire service change to make sure if we need to make any more tweaks if necessary. Let's see. Something that was new that we haven't done before was the interlining of more than one route. So what happened with scheduling, Route 5, it constantly ran late. So in order to address that concern, we interlined the 5 with the Route 2 and 24. That way, it allows Route 5 to increase its on-time performance, but also make its important connections downtown at the multimodal with other routes. So that was something new to all of us. So far, it's going pretty well. Also, we did some interlining with the Route 22, which is one of our outlier routes. It doesn't really meet up with any other buses. So with that, that route was interlined with the Route 27. And so far, it has been going pretty well with that. So with that, they are able to make the connections at Walmart via the Route 25 and the Route 27.
Let me try this again. Just for context, I'm gonna share the screen. I have to do.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize the map I had was actually updated.
Okay, so for context, this is Route 5.
Correct. This is Route.
Is that that's the correct route?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that one is interlining now.
With the 2 and 24. So once it reaches the multimodal, it will change into the Route 2. When it returns from a trip as the Route 2, it will become the 24. So it repeats that cycle throughout the day.
So basically, it kind of drives this, goes here, and then drives, and it just kind of those 3 routes.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what
Any questions about interlining? Are y'all able to do that because the routes run less frequently now?
They still run the same frequency. It's more so like it's done for like a scheduling convenience.
Okay. Do y'all have multiple buses doing the interlining?
Correct. There's I think they're like, okay, so the 5 does it. Of course, the 5 does it. The 2 and the 24, they all interline. So if you drive a 5, you can do the 2 and 24. If you drive a 2, you can do the 5 and 24. So it's like that. Hopefully, I'm explaining that correctly and precisely. If it is it confusing to you all?
No.
Yeah. There's only one, there's only one set of, there's only one set of routes that are interlining right now, and that is the 5, the 2, and the 24. They're part of like, they're kind of like one mega route, sort of.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I think I understand it with the way that you're phrasing it, Jeremy, and basically because there's like one route that was always behind schedule and the buses can't like keep going, like it basically allows the buses to run one giant route that comes back to the multimodal station 3 times, and then but you have multiple buses doing that, so everything is a little kind of equally on time or equally late.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
That's exactly correct.
Okay. Excellent. Well, cool. Well, and I think there's like, I saw a statistic that was like 80%. Something was 80%. What was that?
So our goal is 80% on-time performance. So right now we are hovering around 72%. So we're striving for the extra 8%.
All right.
Yeah, this is great.
Great. I know ice has been troublesome for transit buses out there, but hope everything was pretty smooth for y'all.
Yeah, we end up suspending service on Sunday, and yesterday we started service around 1:45 p.m. So
Okay.
it's been pretty smooth since then.
Excellent.
Saw those alerts coming through.
Any other questions for transit? Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah,
You're welcome.
that's good. Yeah. We don't have planning here or NGRC, NEGRC. So we'll move into some general updates from TPW, starting with, we'll start with the bike audit.
Sure. All right. So we did a bike audit last week, identified 8 points of conversation. Our goal with these audits is to essentially, we have 3 different types of audits that we are rotating. We're doing bike audits once a quarter, once a season, and then we are doing safe routes to school audits once a quarter, and then we are doing road safety audits once a quarter. So it allows us to kind of each organize a different audit, and we're not back to back every single month. Like it's on top of you before you even get a chance to take the notes and everything. So it allows us to have kind of each month we have a different audit going on. The road safety and the safe route to schools are both managed by Katie, and the bike audits are managed by myself. So this is the route that we ran this last time. It was rolled this last time. It was a very similar route to what we've done before. If anybody was able to make the first one, but not this one. This was a couple years ago, and we went out and we met up with a few different departments. We had some TPW reps there, myself included, and then we had leisure services there, and I think transit was going to be there, but some extenuating circumstances happened. Traffic engineering showed up. So we basically just went through the different locations. We started here at the Lennon House Arts Center, the parking lot for Lay Park. And we went up and we talked about Elizabeth Street and the mid-block crossing at number 1. That's across College Avenue. And then we talked about bike lane delineators along Elizabeth Street. We've talked about this before. There's a lot of, like, when people are having service done to their house, the trucks will park in the bike lane. It's just kind of delineated right now. So these are flex posts, basically. They're a little more advanced than flex posts, but there's like kind of a bump and then a post that can be rolled over.
To put in some new flex posts, because there used to be flex posts a long time ago. Those are gone, but there's a new kind of flex.
Yeah, it's a little more resilient, hopefully. And then there's, if you are on Cleveland, for instance, and you're wanting to get on the Greenway, there's not a clear-cut way to get onto the Willow Street Trail. You have to kind of turn into the wrong direction on Elizabeth Street, going the wrong way, and then kind of do a U-turn to get to the curb cut. So we're gonna just be putting in a work order to put in a curb cut that comes out into the street so that bikes and pedestrians can just walk straight on. So then further up at Hickory Street, along Willow Street and Hickory. This is kind of the Classic Center arena is right up here. And there's not like an easy way to get off the trail onto Hickory Street bike lanes. They just kind of start and stop. So the goal there is to put in a mid-block crosswalk and do some new curb cuts so that you can easily and accessibly get from the trail to the multimodal station. Right now, the only accessible way to do so would be to go all the way up to East Broad Street and then kind of go up the hill to Hickory and then, cut over and get over there. So this just allows for a little more direct connection here. Number 5 is the crosswalk there at East Broad Street, and that's going to be, we're looking at different things we can do to make that safer. At the very least, we'd like to do some RRFBs, but there's also some really wide turn radii that just allow for fast turning movements. People kind of come down the hill. I don't know that we'll be able to get like a raised crosswalk in there just because of stormwater issues, but if we can, we will.
This is the intersection at Liberties.
Correct. We talked about at First Street and MLK. If you go there now, you'll notice there are crosswalks there now. There's some new accessible crossings to get across the First Street and across to either side of the street on East Broad. So that's really exciting. It's part of a joint partnership with UGA. And then we also have a new pedestrian island, and I believe we have incoming RFBs at the Chicopee mid-block crosswalk. You already see where cars are hitting it, which means it's working.
Any complaints?
I've only gotten,
Having themselves that they can't maintain their lane?
I haven't gotten any complaints yet. So we then rode up through the park, talked about some stuff there. They just got some new solar on the shelter there in Dudley Park, which is cool. Number 6 was Firefly Trailhead Development. So we kind of talked about how there's a new like wall there. Todd, there was some concern about the height there and visibility as you're coming out of the trail with how tall those walls are. I know it's probably too late, but if they happen to get crashed into and you're rebuilding them lower,
Okay.
that could be helpful.
Okay.
But there's like a new granite wall at that entrance, it's the bike entrance. That was constructed by the MARC as part of the agreement for letting them build that second phase. It's taken a while because of various utility coordination. Georgia Power was working on some power stuff and various reasons, but it's all been installed now. Number 7 is Foundry Street closures. There are some times where the Classic Center will close the street. And you can get through on foot, but it's kind of difficult to do it on bike. And so there's kind of the question about like whether they have to ask for a permit every single time. Is there maybe a similar thing that we could do where, they pay to have some bollards that can be raised and lowered in exchange for maybe a more streamlined process for them to be able to, close that street down.
And to maintain the bike access.
Yeah, it'd be helpful to be able to get through on a bike.
Not even classic center events, but like the marathon that was closed, So there's a lot of events, a lot of times where it's closed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That is the safest way to get from Dudley up into town. It's not safe in the car, that intersection.
Right.
Yeah.
The last thing we discussed was a little bit of Jackson Street Art Walk. It's a future SPOS
I
project.
mentioned that we did stop at the new Thomas Street pet crossing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went up. There's new mid-block crosswalk aisle concrete, just to kind of, so it's not so flat and open, and shortens the crossing distances, gives a little more protection That was the location of, I think one or two fatalities, this year. And at least one serious injury and one fatality. I can't remember if, but anyways, yeah, but we were able to partner with the Classic Center to install those and get new equipment. There's been some delay on the equipment side with some underground utility work, but for the most part, it's I think everything has been done now. It just took a little bit longer for us to get we're going to be relocating the RFBs. So
You're making the right opportunity. You really got to slow down, so it's quite effective.
excellent.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Slow everyone down. The last thing was we discussed the Jackson Street Art Walk. There wasn't a lot of discussion there. I think most of the group had kind of split off by then, but that's essentially it's a SPLOST project, SPLOST 2020, where they were looking at doing kind of a long plaza along Jackson Street from where Hotel Indigo is up to Linden Hills Arts Center. I don't know exactly what the budget is. I think like 750,000. They had discussed closing that road down and making it bike ped only. I think there's also a new development going in up here, and they're going to be maybe taking part of that frontage. So TBD. I kind of took the opportunity to tell planning and leisure services, because planning was there as well, to tell them that we would I don't know if there's an opportunity to discuss, but we would like to ensure that there's still bike access through there as part of the plaza or whatever the future envisioning is. And it was about an hour and a half. We're going to be doing it again in I guess 3 months. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah.
You considering doing it at different times to
It's tricky because the only days that are really available for our other divisions, because we have crews that work 410s, which are like, so 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, and they do like half the crew does Tuesday through Friday, the other half does Monday through Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the only days that we can really get enough people, because they have kind of skeleton crews on the Monday and Fridays. And then as far as hours go, it is difficult for staff, aside from me, to go after hours. So we'll be a little flexible on the times and stuff, but if there's a time that helps, like if it's a little later in the day, if it's like 4, 3 or 4, we could manage that. I don't know that we could start at 6, but
I wonder if it's possible to do something like we do with this meeting on school, kind of like, people who have to leave a little bit early and y'all have to stay a little late, but
yeah, and ideally, the goal with the scheduling on this one was to do it kind of a week before this meeting, and not do them at the same week, just so that it's less impactful for us working folk. If you have to take time off to come to this meeting, it's maybe a little easier to do it a week apart, but we could even look at 2 weeks apart just to make that work.
Yeah, Teresa, you were there. Any comments?
I just want to say it was nice to have all these different groups of staff people and then, us volunteer type people together, to talk about this. I mean, it's cooperation and communication that gets the stuff done. There are just so many different entities that have to weigh in on every one of these projects. So having people in the same place at the same time, looking at the same situation, let's go.
Yeah, did it. Great, so we'll have another one sometime in the spring. Cool, and yeah, thank you for organizing this. And Daniel, I love this report back. This is great with the map, and I think even if I hadn't been there, I could see like what was going on. And so I guess is it a good time to kind of check in on the status of these at the next bike audit, and be like, hey, are these moving? Is that a good time to ask? We can just ask about it.
What was that? Sorry, repeat the question.
So would be like, would the next bike audit be a good time to check in on the status of some of this stuff?
Yeah, I think what we can do is probably, because it takes everyone a little bit of time to kind of get set up on their bike sometimes, or sometimes they just roll up ready to go. You know, we could maybe use that first 15-20 minutes to update on these things. Sometimes these things, I mean, some of these will be designs that you know, some of these are work orders, some of these are designs that aren't funded. It really depends, you know. Some of these are just long-term discussions that are kind of like,
Right.
you know, here's where we're at. So yeah, but we can talk about it. With the other audits, we do kind of a pre and post meeting. It's mostly staff though.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be having a post meeting
Got you.
with staff about this to like kind of, and it's a small enough list where it doesn't even need to really be a meeting. I could probably just do it as an email or, you know, a phone call. So yeah.
Were these projects identified during the audit, or did you kind of already have?
I kind of knew ahead of time, like we had discussed some things, but it was an opportunity to kind of have everyone there to talk about it openly.
Some of the stuff we had touched on before, as Daniel said, so bringing it back.
It's good to see. I mean, some of these, like the, coming out of Dover and getting on, or, yeah, coming down, that's really good. So it's good to get, you know, a bunch of people who are all going to be involved at some point to really see it, rather than just someone say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great, Daniel. And again, if we can convey our appreciation to having representatives from across departments, as Teresa said. You know, it's a lot to work it in, but we love seeing that collaboration. So kudos to y'all. Yeah, and it takes to make that happen, but you know, we love seeing that. Do you want to go into any, we got plan revision updates coming in a minute. Do you want to talk about safe streets for all?
Was there a thing on the agenda to talk about the dashboard?
The Vision Zero dashboard? Yeah, we have time for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have that pulled up. We can do that next if you want, or we could come back to it.
Let's go into it when we do mega updates. I want to see if there's anything else like that's a quick and dirty, quick and clean thing. Any safe streets for all updates?
What's in 2 weeks?
Is it a work session?
Or
I think it might be a work session.
yeah, I think we just ran through the work session with the design team. I think like in 2 weeks that we're gonna have a work session to mayor and commission about the Safe Streets for All safety action plan.
Great. You know, next time. Residential calming program. What is
Traffic management?
RCP? What does that mean?
RCP is the Reconnecting Communities program. It's a federal grant.
RCP. Okay,
It's-
let me write this out. Reconnecting communities. The word community. The word procurement.
Has it been approved? We're in negotiations now. Yeah, we're in contract negotiations. I think it's been announced, right? I can say.
I think so.
Yeah, it's been voted on by mayor and commission. It was on one of the consent agendas. Kimley Horn has been awarded the contract for that. We've got a multidisciplinary team of you know, traffic specialists, traffic engineering, transportation-based planning, but also community planning. You know, they've got a sub-consultant, I think, to do community planning, zoning recommendations as well. This is a Reconnecting Communities program. Is I guess the description is it's about reconnecting communities. It's like areas of historic disinvestment, areas that were historically divided, We got, we chose this area based on kind of historic, the creation of Hawthorne Avenue and the way it kind of divides. Yeah, it's the scope of this is from Prince Avenue to Baxter along Hawthorne and Alps. And then it also includes Oglethorpe from Prince over to Mitchell Bridge Road. This will be essentially a transportation study to look at what are the opportunities, like where, where can we have roundabouts? Where can we have, lane reallocations? Where can we optimize intersections to flow more smoothly? Because oftentimes the capacity of a roadway is not just about the number of lanes, but about the choke points, which are usually intersections. And there's been a lot of things happening around that area as far as like development goes, but also GDOT safety audit along Broad Street. There's been the intersection that we're currently kind of working on at Hawthorne and Oglethorpe. That intersection is underway, and I think construction is supposed to start soon, but that's to kind of fix it a little bit. But this is kind of a broader look. This could have, we have a study that recommends 3-laning the section of Hawthorne that is north of Oglethorpe, kind of from like across the street from YMCA and Bishop Park. So, there's a lot of, we'll talk to the community. Like the biggest part of the RCP is community engagement. It's kind of like getting their voices heard, finding out where we can make it safer. Like this is not a situation where we can like, reconnect the community over the top with a bridge like the Stitch in downtown Atlanta, a $1.2 billion project. But we want to try to take like an innovative approach to like, it's not just going to be, all right, here's like, it's not just bike lanes, sidewalk, trees. It's kind of like, how can we make like kind of reconnect this community to have access to things.
Okay, yeah, it's a holistic approach instead of just like, okay, let's just look at the roads and downsides. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like, are there recommendations for like changing the zoning? For fixing the zoning to make. I mean, I know that in the past there's been conversations about a halfway house being able to be built in this neighborhood because of the zoning, and the neighbors didn't want it, but they appreciate what it's doing, but like not next to them. And the reason that they chose that location is because the other spots that are more ideal are not zoned for it. And so this is one of a few areas in town that is allowed to be. And so it's kind of those types of conversations, they get really sensitive. It's all kind of tied to history of displacement in Athens. And, without going into our full 30-page application, it was funded in 2022,
Right.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
To find the details in our history, it would be under RCN. So basically there was one year where they merged 2 programs together and they named it RCN, Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods. We were funded through RCP as part of RCN, because that was, there was basically NAE and RCP that were funded through RCN. So it might get confusing, but the grant we got is RCP. And so now all of our materials say RCP. If you're looking at the history, you're going to be looking for
That's why I'm
RCN.
sitting here like, what is this alphabet? I don't remember. Okay, unless there are any other updates, I'm gonna move us into a planner with an update. And I think Danielle had originally allocated 20 minutes, and we can try and get that done in the last couple of weeks. Started a little bit late. Yeah. So what's the update?
Plan revision update for Athens in Motion. We are awaiting some data by the end of this week from AECOM that are deliverables as part of their safety action plan. And it will go towards the prioritization We have provided a round of feedback to Henry. Let's see. We spoke with GDOT. They're doing a replica HQ analysis for us. They're covering the cost of that. Replica HQ is a transportation modeling software. It allows you to kind of look at origin destination to kind of help tell the story of why mode shift is important in Athens. Mode shift being, transferring from cars to bikes. I think one of the biggest impacts that we all know and care about is campus. Like that's kind of the biggest generator of bike traffic in Athens. So they're going to be doing a model for us of what the impact could be on campus. I don't remember exactly what the modeling is, but they're going to be looking at where people are coming from in the surrounding neighborhoods, like with campus as the destination. So we'll be able to look at it on a semester basis, or maybe even just like during the school year, we're going to limit it down and look at, where are people making the trips to and from. That can help inform why our network is where it is. And so.
See opportunities for people to shift from cars to bikes and increase congestion on campus, that kind of thing. The opportunities for connecting the network to the campus.
And of course, it's not just about students, it's about faculty and staff, right?
Everybody.
They have cell phone data just so they can see who's going where, but not exactly who they are.
And the main reason for looking at campus is because that's where the most potential is, or that's like.
It's currently kind of the biggest generator to our bike traffic around town. Like when people are like for the most part, people who decide to bike are doing so because they want to bike. Specifically, students are more in that vein of they're choosing to bike because they need to bike, because they can't afford to, like they don't have a parking spot on campus and they need to be able to get there, and there's nowhere to park and they can't walk. And so, the next.
So the assumption here is that even with our infrastructure being disconnected, like if there's one person biking, there might be 10 more. Is that the idea?
It's kind of like one of the things that you can look at in the origin destination is you can kind of also, I think, see what percentage of trips are like trying to figure out what all they're going to be able to provide to us. Replica HQ has a ton of stuff they can do. GDOT is paying for the analysis, so they kind of, we talked to them at length about it in the meeting, and they kind of decided what that analysis would look like. Once we get the results, we'll be able to really like work with Tool, because Tool isn't scoped to incorporate it into the work they're doing. So it may end up being a thing where we'll have it in the scope or time to, provide an analysis of this. But we as staff could do that and include it in the document, the Athens in Motion plan. So, but if you think about like, if you look at the average number of vehicle miles traveled, you can look at like, there are ways to see like 20% of trips or 40% of trips along Prince Avenue in this section are less than, 5 miles. And so if this section has bike lanes and, half and like a third or a quarter or whatever percentage of the people who are making those trips switch it to bikes, well, that could impact and drop down congestion by X amount. I do need to plug it in the charger.
Yeah, so that's going to be like part of the story that we're trying to tell to elected officials and the public.
Yeah, and we chose to kind of look at this because I feel like there is some opportunity to kind of tell that story of like with the increasing, enrollment and just like the driver of students riding on our roads to get safely to and from school. We can really kind of tell that story of like, this is why it's important. here's this analysis that we're able to do that shows currently how many people are doing this. But like originally what I was hoping to do was like, here's how many people are coming and going, and based on future traffic projections, based on future growth at UGA, here is like, if we, install bike lanes and that gets even like 10% of the people like taking those trips, then that's what this could have an impact on. Versus like if you just leave the bike lanes alone or you don't build them, as that enrollment goes up, as the cars go up, like what does that do to congestion throughout the day? You're gonna have more pedestrians, which means more crossing time for pedestrians, which means less, more waiting time for cars, and then they're building up. And so it's,
Is there room to capture things like, Clark Central students, Clark Elementary, or like our in-town schools?
at a future date, probably like as part of another, like we can check with GDOT about Replica. I know Replica has, yeah, like they've reached out to us to see if we want to do a membership with them. They're the company that like allows to do that. The trick is knowing how to do it. We did a subscription to Streetlight a while back. That's how we were able to even see that, like, they use cell phone data, and we were able to see, where most of the trips in Athens by bike were going. And pretty much the majority of them by a lot were on campus. So that was like helpful for us to know. Like one of the biggest, most frequented trips on bike was, I think, Carlton, like kind of that street in front of Steckman. So that was kind of shocking to me because I have a lot of ideas of where I would imagine that traffic would be. But yeah, as far as like other updates, like I,
Is there anybody from university on that project, or is there?
Like, I was planning on reaching out to you,
Sure.
because yeah,
Questions answered or participation, we could-
it's
they'd be interested.
when I kind of threw out my entire idea, they were like, well, that's a little bigger than we can afford, but we can do this. And so, what I can do is probably get somebody from Kimley Horn or maybe GDOT to maybe just get on call between us, and then you can maybe help, because one of the things I was thinking about was like, oh, well, could we even look at like what the future plans are for parking decks and where that traffic's going to be? And that was a little more in the weeds than their software can really do. And so, but yeah, it was kind of like a last minute request at our safety meeting. And then it was like 2 months ago in November, it was like, oh, y'all mentioned something about Replica. Would we be able to get analysis? So we're trying to kind of like see if we can get it to fit into the document, and kind of help that narrative. So I'll give you a call about it. Yeah, thanks for checking. The only other thing we have provided feedback. See if I can find it, about the prioritization methodology.
You gonna pull that up?
Yes. So this is the first round. Let me go ahead and share. So the prioritization is really split into let's see. Split into these different categories. These are just the comments. So we've got safety, connectivity, equity, and then we've merged implementation and encouragement. So, safety, we're looking at the high injury network and the bicycle level of traffic stress. So this is the level of comfort from the last plan, where every road is rated like 0 through 5, 5 being bikes are not permitted here, 4 being it's very uncomfortable, Atlanta highway, those kind of roads. One is like boulevard, like one or two is like boulevard and side streets, neighborhood streets. And so really looking at like that traffic stress. And so, you know, in this iteration, like this is not the latest update, I'll go ahead and say. There's like a newer version, but you know, in this iteration it's like a level 3 corridor would be 5 points, 4 would be 10 points.
Yeah,
And
so
then
you get points along this and then you end up with a sort of max.
yeah, you kind of could get the max points for safety. So that looks at every, so we have our entire Athens in Motion network, and they're going to be providing that network to us next with start and end points for projects. So the logical termini of all the projects. We're going to be able to provide some input about where those projects should start and stop, what intersection that should be at. We're also going to be looking at maybe a top 10, 20 intersections that could be highlighted for this, because in a lot of cases you have like an intersection project that might be $4 or $5 million to fix that intersection, and the approach has been, well, if we're connecting, you know, sidewalks, or if we're connecting a transportation project to that intersection, then we'll just improve the intersection as part of that. It gets really over budgeted really quickly when you've got intersection, corridor, like right of way acquisition, all these things, and suddenly you've got Barber Street turning into a, you know, $14 to $20 million project if you wanted to do the entire corridor.
What is BPHIN?
Bike Ped High Injury Network. So that's one of the deliverables we're waiting for from AECOM. The BLTS bike level of traffic stress is also what we're waiting for from AECOM. So those should be coming in this week, and then they can run this full analysis. Connectivity, we're looking at growth centers. This is basically urban neighborhood community centers. I think these points got shifted around, so I'm not sure which one turned up on top, but you've got barriers. So if there's a river or railroad or loop 10 that gets if that exists on the corridor, that gets bumped up by 5 points. Community destinations. So if the corridor is within a quarter mile of park, school, or grocery store. Access to greenways and transit. So if there's direct access to greenway access point, like a trailhead, future trailhead even, existing bikeway, you know, existing bike path, or a transit stop. So that kind of gives you that existing connectivity, and that can give you kind of a max of 25 points. Then we've got equity. So this is all gone now. This is not going to be shown. What we ended up doing was there's a transportation accessibility index being done as part of the safety action plan, and it basically split the entire county into census blocks or block groups, and each one was scored 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. And so if the project is touches a block group that has like 40 to 60, it gets, you know, 5 points or 10 points, you know, and then if I think it's 10 points, and then 60 to 80 is 15, and then 80 to 100 is 20. So based on that whole analysis, and all of that's going to be outlined in the safety action plan, we're going to kind of highlight the key points from that. We can put the details in the appendix, but it'll be outlined in the prioritization section, and that would give us kind of the point breakdown. That would kind of give it gives a little heavier weight towards the area in those higher transportation accessibility index locations. If that makes sense. The last thing here is implementation encouragement. So this is kind of where public input came into play. As part of the survey, we had kind of a list of roads and corridors that you could select as your most important one. The ones that came out in the top, like the top 10 would get 10 points, and the top 20 would get 5 points. And so this is kind of, it gets that extra little nudge if, you know, most people selected Lexington. This kind of, I asked about critical corridors and whether or not this replaces it. They're going to get back to me on that. I mean, previously, I think critical corridors were outlined. They're kind of like, we've determined these to be critical corridors. There's other ways to kind of have that captured here, but the level of traffic stress are usually along those larger critical corridors. So that may go away. Ultimately, we're going to be providing that. We gave them this. They made some changes. We ran through it over a meeting, and then the next thing they're going to be providing to us is the whole network, which is now finalized. So we've done the final draft of that. They're going to give us the logical termini of those, and they're going to give us essentially the weighted, like the result of this analysis. So if there's any, that way we can kind of see what's coming out in tier 1. And if we look at it and we're like, oh, that's not exactly what I had in mind or what we thought would happen, or, because this is often kind of, you can say what your priorities are, and then like, it comes out and everything's kind of different than you would expect. So we'll have an opportunity for feedback. I believe there's one more meeting that they are able to come here and present to Athens in Motion Commission.
Sounds like February.
Oh, probably not as soon. There's the work session for this is going to be August. So,
Wow.
we're looking at, we had to bypass the budget months.
Yeah.
There's, staff looking at it. There's the AIM Commission. I'm assuming probably April, May, because there's also the whole document. And so we're working on all these things. We'll have a lot to cover in that meeting.
So
And if you want it to be a special called session, we could probably do that.
I think we probably don't need it to be a special call session.
Okay.
Because we're not doing any T-spots or anything.
Okay.
Just today you'll have their breakthrough. I'll just do a meeting. Like I don't know if we're gonna be reviewing any type of projects this year. So we'll be looking at it between now and August, but the American Commission are now, instead of reviewing it in spring, are doing it in August.
Yeah.
That's the big update.
The big thing plan. So
Okay. Safety action plan spring and plan revision probably August. Okay. Any other questions for Daniel? Okay. Yeah, thanks for your work on that. Glad to see it's moving along. Thanks for updating us on the criteria, the prioritization criteria. Yeah. Real quick update on T-Splosh 2026. The Mayor Commission approved the final project list in a special called session last Tuesday. I have the pre-final list I could share. But I think that I think they made some additional tweaks here and there. And this might exist online. I haven't seen this on the T-Splosh 126 pages yet, so I think maybe staff are, working to get that finalized. But this was attached to the agenda. So the American Commission have added a 6th year to the program. And they've adjusted pavement maintenance and transit or maybe we didn't. I don't think that they did. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm not sure about that. Not part of this group.
Not many people are.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think maybe road pavement was increased 5 million because they added a 6th year. And then millage makeover, which was similar to the project that we submitted. I think it just had a narrower scope, was increased $700,000. And there is traffic circle on South Millage that was added. I think the Splinterville Main Street and Cherokee Road intersection was added. And these other intersections, Timothy Road multi-use path is on there. And then there is funding seed money for the Middle Laconia Greenway. I think our friends at Greenway called it a down payment, but you know, it's better than nothing.
Where would that go from? To?
Beach Haven area.
Yeah.
Because it would require a bridge probably,
Yeah, this
actually
will not build a bridge by itself.
but
Yeah.
you can do on-road improvements on Mitchell Bridge to get across there. It's a little easier to go down the west side. The current Greenway plan shows going down the west side of the river. And then there's a Matthews Motors property that is kind of off of Atlanta Highway. So there could be some trail improvements to get at least an access drive, little parking lot for 10 to 20 cars, little restroom, play area, little picnic loop, and then like a bigger paved trail that can go down along. I don't know how much of it could be covered. But that was kind of when I was involved, that's what it was. Todd, have they talked to you at all about that project?
They haven't. So
So did you know that y'all had $7 million now?
no, I didn't. I didn't.
It's voted for by the referendum.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The bridge is the most, if it bridge is in there, that's very expensive. I don't know what's all in it, so.
Yeah, they would not be able to afford a bridge. But basically, I think it's broad enough to where like, it's probably possible that the Beach Haven project could use this to build a bridge over to Matthews Motors, but it's very unlikely that it would go up. And I think this is more about the trail
I'm hoping.
from Ben Burton to Matthews
I'm
Motors.
hoping this is trail on around Beach Haven.
Yeah.
Like around Beach Haven or around Ben Burton to Matthews Motors?
I think that's too complicated with this, right? I don't think that.
The simple thing is from Ben Burton to Matthews Motors because it's very few properties.
Yeah, but there still would ultimately be some trail around Beach Haven, right? Like, 'cause that's.
That is covered by the Beach Haven project.
Do they have, I don't think they have that money,
I mean, it is an opportunity within,
right?
like, they have their budget. They have their budget, and I don't know how that project has been voted for, but I mean, that would be like a phase 2 Beach Haven. Probably.
No one that might be able to follow.
Yeah, Scott, you were on like some exploratory initial committee about Beach Haven, or Todd, have you been part of that recently?
I'm part of the Beach Haven user group, but we really haven't got into design or anything yet. It's still just like scoping level stuff. So we hadn't had a meeting in a month or so because of the holidays.
That's Matthews Motors.
It is a property acquired as part of Beach Haven property acquisition. It is near Tremont Parkway.
Yeah.
But it is not accessible either. It's like fenced off. The D12 Commercial Interiors, like that business used to be a place called Matthews Motors, and they also owned all the property out back. And so,
It was the Ford dealership back in the day.
yeah.
So depending on how long you've lived there.
If you go to the right spot in the woods, you'll see a bunch of old rusted out cars.
Yeah.
Where they kind of built a fence and everything. The forest grew up around the cars. So
Yeah. So we're gonna have a better name for that than Matthews Motors. We're gonna come up with a new name for it eventually, but
maybe something to do with Mountain Laurel because there's a bunch of it there.
yeah. Yeah. The developer up there at the Hayward Island, they've already, if that plan's going through, when they were in planning, they came through to us and talked to us about the Greenway, and they were on board with it coming through their property because they were even gonna give us a tie-in to the Hayward Island Road Parkway as part of their development so that people could get to the road. So, but I don't know if those plans got approved or what they're doing.
Yeah, we'll see. This, I mean, as far as like bike ped related improvements here, bike ped safety, I should say. You know, there's the possibility of some of the road pavement whenever restriping occurs to go towards hitting bike lanes. So obviously that doesn't mean we got 59 million to make bike lanes, because that's not what that is.
That's
but-
exactly what that
But
is.
there's opportunity within that budget now to potentially do some restriping. Same goes with the bridge repair and maintenance. If there is like some sort of road diet that happens as part of this, with the results of the things we can do, you know, this is repair and maintenance, not replacement. So, but ideally, we always try with our complete streets policy to do these things. The residential traffic management program are oftentimes traffic calming things that go through our office. And then we've got the safe routes programs, which is safe routes to schools, safe routes to parks. That's previously, is that the one that was submitted by Athens in Motion Commission, or
No, we don't have any.
previously it was, and then we put it forward from the department. So there's some funding there for 4.7 million to go towards safe routes to schools, transit, and parks. And then we've got Vision Zero Action Plan implementation, which will have safety implementation. That seed money for a larger action planning grant, or not action planning grant, that's what we currently have. Implementation grant through the federal government. The NOFO, Notice of Funding Opportunity, should be coming out for that soon. So we're going to be rushing to both get the plan approved and get our application in, kind of stacked on top of each other. And I would need to look closer at College Station bike lanes. I assume I'll be involved with the user group on these, or whatever, if there is a user group. Pedestrian improvements, traffic calming, that kind of thing. So we got millage makeover. We've got, I don't know where the traffic circle is on South Millage, but
Across from the soccer football field and the track.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what they said it is specifically.
I think if I remember, if I remember correctly, the College Station.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got crosswalk safety project. This is Barnett Souls, I think, just maybe crosswalks and safety along the corridor. So that is the section, I believe, from Lexington to Gaines School.
Yeah.
That section of Barnett Shoals. And it would be mid-block crossings, maybe protection for bike lanes. I would need to look at that proposal to see what opportunities exist.
It doesn't go over the taco stand.
Where's Taco?
Oh, there you go. Over there. What used to be growing?
I mean, I would imagine it goes to, yeah, no, it doesn't like wrap into that section. I think it goes up to where Gaines School.
I'm gonna go ahead and move us along.
Okay.
But
Wasn't there a traffic? Wasn't there something on Gaines School Road?
East Side Athens Complete Streets Redevelopment, I think that's wrapped up. in
Yeah,
there.
that one right there. That's gonna be our biggest bike ped project probably, because that's kind of a complete streets focused thing. So
Mhm.
11 million basically for, I believe, the scope. Again, we need to look at the final version of it, but the original proposal was, I think, from Lexington, basically where that McDonald's crosswalk was, where the fatality was, all the way into, I believe, Barnett Shoals. It could potentially have gone all the way to College Station. That if College Station intersection was included in the project, it would be that one and not the Barnett Shoals.
Yeah, so the list is finalized and staff is working on the language that gives the county as much flexibility and still is in the spirit of the projects themselves, but
Plus,
that's that.
So that's what the next vote is going to be, the final language. That's something in their mission for another vote.
I know that they're definitely voting on the referendum language, and I'm assuming that that will include the project descriptions. I don't know if they're allowed to continue working on that after, because the referendum does not say like every single little, what's printed on the ballot is not gonna be every single little detail of all the projects. That's one thing, but then whatever becomes the document that refers to is, I think where staff keep it kind of broad, SWAT staff. And our lawyers.
Yeah, they usually keep them pretty broad and able to be.
Yeah, definitely. I think the referendum language is gonna go on the ballot, and I thought that those project descriptions would be finalized too, but maybe not. Okay, so we're running out of time, and we do have some presentations on the crash update, like it's awesome from 2025, and then also a preview of the Vision Zero dashboard, which only the data from that we're still working on, but it only goes up to 2024 anyway. So I went ahead and pulled it up. Katie, if you want to share on your screen, you can. That's up to you. I can drive or. Yeah.
Right, so I used pretty close to my usual format for crash updates to give the annual total. So yeah, we had over 5,000 crashes, about 14 a day this past year. Yes, and as we know, it's fate, the last few days of the year that we can talk about if we do the December. Let's see, and I started writing a little bit of commentary for future use and maybe some of the social media posts that we talked about. We're gonna have to get with our public information folks before producing official shareable graphics, but I just kind of wanted to put a narrative to data.
Yeah, thanks for taking a stab at that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like
14 fatalities, which is, I think, but the high point was like what, like 22 or something.
yeah.
23, and then last year.
Yeah, that's the graph I didn't make.
The police dashboard has it somewhere.
The second paragraph is,
Mm-hmm.
there's a big,
Yeah.
2%. Yeah. But at 25%.
Yeah.
So I have a question. The crashes with fatality versus total fatalities. What's the,
It's because we had multiples in the same crash.
I see.
So it's 10 crashes with 14 fatalities.
that makes
The way it was reported last year from PD is 11 fatal crashes resulting in 11 deaths.
Is there a way that you communicate more clearly to that? Because that one in that stays the same thing. It's a bit-
Yeah, I'll think about that.
it's for other people who can have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll think about that. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess I could do percentages of those with applicable.
Yeah, and this is huge police resource. We spent a lot of time processing these crashes. I know.
Yeah, but pretty much 3/4 of crashes, there were no injuries. But that's still a lot of crashes. That kind of shows the proportions. And I think they were pretty steady across the year. And then again, yeah, pedestrians really overrepresented in terms of the. We can kind of see our months here. Yeah, I think this tracks the most other years. I should have thought to compare it to other years, but summer, slow season, fortunately. And,
October being high, is any of that related to maybe football games or anything like that? I know there's other months where there's football games, but didn't know if you knew anything about
That's
that.
a great question. Yeah, it's pretty easy to look at Saturdays.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I can pull that up for next time.
Okay.
And in a minute, we're gonna go through that, like a Vision Zero dashboard preview where we can have
Yeah.
so much fun.
What up, you? Oh, yes.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Say, like, you
Yeah.
a month, another holiday, people go home for.
Yeah, and it's very nice weather, so probably what people like. You know, but-
Yeah, weather, yeah, I'm sure that
Mhm.
makes a big difference.
So killed or,
Seriously injured.
the,
And this, I mean, it's going to be pretty close to our high injury network.
Deselect it.
okay, good.
So you can see the hot spots where we've had the most serious injuries.
Yeah, so a lot downtown.
Yeah.
This is a heat map of the number of crashes
That's true.
that are serious and fatal, not like the severity. So this is where there's been a lot of serious and fatal at these red areas.
Some of them aren't. Not all the data is clean. So for example, the two pedestrian deaths on Gaines don't show up, but it still gives us a good idea of where there are clusters. of
What's
serious.
the part of the body of water?
I think part of Shoals.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Oak Street, Pine Street.
Mhm. That is, I believe, yeah, Oconee, kind of closer into town than the river. It looks like Dudley Park is like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's like Vine Street or something.
Yeah, it's Nellie B into Vine.
Maybe like a zoom in more on the dashboard. I haven't explored that.
Yeah.
Actually. And that's,
Yeah, so that was, okay.
yeah, the most serious crashes.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown, and these are all pedestrian crashes, not as serious, but of course,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are reported are more likely to be serious. Or any crash with a pedestrian is more likely to be serious.
So downtown, campus, Prince Avenue. Broad.
That's the officers and everything.
Lexington. Gaines School.
It's Lexington and Gaines School.
Yeah, and then a lot here at,
Which restaurant?
so out here at Hull Road, 49. Yeah, this is like December data. Okay, because I think we're missing, or maybe there was closer to here, but there was the guy who was crossing. I thought it was more like over here. And maybe it just got shifted down here. Who was that? And they had a hard time identifying him.
Yeah. I know, I think that was right at that.
I thought it was too, like we're supposed to be a further, right?
Yeah, but I thought it was, I thought it was actually here. So maybe it's, or here, Old Hall Road, that's where it was. Maybe it's just kind of,
Yeah.
we're kind of backed out.
Close, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it is just kind of showing here, but I think it was here.
Okay.
Yeah.
check. Yeah, I haven't cleaned the data, so.
I mean, that's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
It might- Yeah.
I think the last one is bike crashes that we reported. Closer in, again, campus.
Oh, yeah, so.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of right there near the trailhead for the Greenway. And part of this too is that, it is more likely to see bike crashes in areas where people are riding bikes. So, yeah.
It's super safe over here. Like, where's Timothy Road? We don't clearly.
Yeah, ride your
Clearly
bike
not
anytime you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, drawing any conclusions.
All right, yeah, so this is just for
For
one
discussion.
year.
Yes.
So this is our year in review. And so we've been doing this for more than a year now. I think this is the first time where we have a complete year, at least from the crashes. We have more data than that, and that's with the Vision Zero dashboard. Do you want to pull that up now? Do you want to draft or who's got it?
I got it.
The login, you can try. I just emailed it to you guys.
So this is the part where we, I don't mean to make light of this or be flippant, but you can have some fun with the data and be like, okay, where are things happening? Are we seeing a lot more crashes with pedestrians and bikes on those Saturdays, on game days? Is a lot of stuff happening? Like, because I always notice, like, oh my gosh, I feel like Sunday morning at 2 a.m. is like the worst time to be downtown or anywhere near there. But I can look it up and be like, what are the things on look at the crashes on Sunday morning at like 2 a.m. for the past 4 years.
Oh, yeah, I do have a December report. If you want to talk about some of those. Let's go ahead and get this.
Okay, yeah, let's get into this.
In the driver, you want to talk. So this we set it up as a splash screen for this information to learn how to use it, like partnership and everything, and exactly how to use it. We didn't want to have the info like kind of taking up valuable space on the dashboard. Got a total crash readout up here.
And yes, this is 2019 to 2024.
Yeah,
This
so
is not anything for 2025.
I'm gonna actually zoom out a bit so that we get a little more of a full screen. So harder to see maybe if you're looking at the words, but you can see the layout better. Do y'all prefer it maybe a little larger?
I'm sure now that we've seen it big, now we can see it closer.
So yeah, we've got the filters here. We got commission district, bike related, so you can actually go in and say bike crash and the delay. But then it zooms in and it shows you the color and size represent the severity.
Nice.
So your fatal crashes are larger and red. No injury are smaller and gray.
Great.
All of the colors represent some form level of injury, ranging from fatal to serious to minor to possible or complaint of an injury. You can then click on this location and it'll tell you information about that specific crash. So this is Tallahassee Road in Westchester. This happened in 2022, March 3rd, 2022, on a Thursday. Dark conditions, clear weather. The driver was 25 to 34. And this is kind of like one of the fields. We're still working on the data itself because there are two individuals in each crash. So it's like, this might just be driver age, like driver 1 age versus driver 2 age. We need to kind of get details on like what exactly we're going to be showing. And you can see it's a county ownership. That's something that we're working on too. So that's the information that is available. We got latitude, longitude as well. You can also zoom in and see like the base map. here. So the roads populate as you go in closer. So we're able to kind of go through and see all those crashes that are bike related.
So if you had two cars that crashed into each other, that counts as two dots.
No.
You had two cars that crashed into each other and there were two injuries, an injury in each car, that counts as two dots?
No, this is 1 dot per crash.
Okay, so per incident.
These are all bike related crashes.
Okay.
These are all of your pedestrian related crashes. Wait, just wait. So undo and then refilter. So you can see the red dots are the fatal crashes, varying levels of injury here. And, you know, you can see there's a lot more concentration of crashes. There's also at the top, this shows 337 crashes. This is for the current date range. There's also, I believe we are expecting some data corrections. There's a few crashes missing here. But this is just kind of showing how the filters and everything work versus the, you know, accuracy of all of it. So, yeah, we can go in, you can actually go into crash year and you can look at each individual year standalone.
Can we put Aaron's question to this?
What's that?
Like what was it, the game day Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of see how this works, like, just all crashes on, because isn't there, you can go by day of the week, or there was a version of this that you could, just to show the power of this.
And so all of the crashes on a Saturday.
Yeah, okay, so you
And
get this one.
so, you know, you have here, the number of crashes by year that are on a Saturday, and this is by day a week. So you can actually, you know, we can get rid of this particular filter.
Just see which day.
Let's just clear the filters. And then you can go down here. This is just gonna show all the crashes. And then you can see here, crashes go down on Saturdays and Sundays.
Then you could, this is all crashes. So you can filter this by-
Yeah,
Well,
that's
the
like,
times of day stuff is interesting too.
yeah, there's time of day. This is a little confusing. We're gonna be working on converting this to military time so that it, you know, we have, it goes in order without having to have the 1-4, 2-7, 3-10. That's like
Oh, yeah.
there's some, you know, you'll notice up here we had to do 1 Sunday, 2 Monday, just to keep it in the proper order. And there's a chart of the severity. And then we've also got 2 things overlapping here. So you've got the total number of crashes that are angle, and then that's no injury. That's with complaints of injury. I believe, yeah, the fatal is in there, 14. It's a little hard to pick up, but this just basically shows you number of crashes and the severity of those crashes based on. So, you know, with head-on crashes, there's a lot fewer of those, but much higher percentage of them are injury. You see, there's 9 fatal head-on crashes versus like 14 angle crashes, but out of, you know, 6,000 or something.
So there are more crashes during the middle of the day because there are more hours on that bar than there are on the other bars?
No, this is these are all equivalent time period. Oh, let's see, 4 to 7, 7 to 10,
Oh, that makes, okay. I was seeing.
10 to 4,
Yeah, that makes sense now.
4 to 7. So yes,
Yes, good point.
probably because that is a 6-hour period. Okay, maybe worth mentioning or asking them a little bit about the delineation plan. This is probably data that like is in the police report, so that we can't really refine it. But yeah, I would say that, you know, this is a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like 3 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, and then 3, 3.
4 hours.
Is that 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Ah.
And
And then
5 hours.
5 hours. So, I mean, it's, you know, also a lot more cars on the road. I guess like peak versus, this is the nothing good happens after 11 category. Any questions about these charts? So basically, as you filter the crashes up here, you can see we've got commission district, bike related, pedestrian related, crash year, day of the week, functional classification, that's the classification of the roadway, crash severity, again, that's outlined here, but you can filter it out by crash severity. Light conditions, this is like daylight, you know, conditions, maybe even like, you know, you got dark, lighted, dark, not lighted, so street light conditions too. Manner of collision, so you can filter the type. You got speed limit of the roadways, the time of day, the weather conditions, and then the driver age. Again, this might go away because of the issue we're having with there's multiple fields for multiple drivers. Like there could be 3 cars involved, but you can't, you know, if there's not like a aggregated data column that we can pull from to represent all of those. The other thing I think, you know, so like for instance, we could go into crash severity, and then you could select multiple, and you could say, well, I don't really want to see the no injury. I want to see possible, you know, and then as you go down here, you can see it's a little easier to see those fatal crash numbers, the percentages that make up, because there's not so much.
Back to the age thing. Could it be just that, I don't know if they police capture this information, but the age of the person at fault? Exactly, you know, to who's at fault.
Yeah, you know, and that might be what's shown. I'm imagining that that's driver 1 age.
Yeah.
And that would really get into how they write their reports.
Right.
So I'm not sure. A lot of this, you know, the team is working on creating an interactive dashboard for us to be able to access. They had to basically create the database from the crash data that we received and the configuration of all that. So we are kind of towards the end of our like budget with this project. So there's not a ton of changes, especially if there was like a systemic data change that we would need to make it do something. So that's why some of these might just be driver age goes away. I was hoping we could, you know, have an option to see like crashes involving children, crashes, you know, with young drivers, you know, involved, you know, senior citizen crashes. That is a little harder on this platform to do. I believe there are ways that we could do that in new metrics to provide the data. So I think we could still get the data. It's just that has a much more dynamic interface.
Yeah, so, are we at the point where, we can like play around with this without a login, or y'all still working on that?
It still requires login. I think it's our final version. Like the last, I gave some final feedback on some things, and they're kind of like, all right, we've made the changes. So I guess the one thing being, I thought we said to get rid of driver age, but maybe not.
So you are looking at some of the data that's missing, but then.
And that's the bigger thing here is like, yeah, so there are like, if you look at the fatal crashes, I think you actually helped me figure this out. Like there's some crashes that we know of, like downtown, but you can see they're missing here.
So, we're missing the
So-
fatal pedestrian crash, at the railroad block years ago.
And I did kind of a side by side, and there is anywhere from 1 to 5 fatal crashes missing each year. Every year is different. So we have this, we're yeah. I tried to look and see if there were commonalities between the ones that are missing from the data set, and ultimately we could not figure that out. We are verifying that everything else though has been done with accurate data. Obviously, we don't want, like at the end of this suddenly, oh wait, where's these fatal crashes? So
what I'm trying to figure out is like, are we going to be able to get into this before our next meeting, or should we come back and talk about this again at the next Athens-Clarke meeting, and then we'll kind of get fully around?
we can Katie, could you maybe check in with Jason about, I think probably once this is delivered to us and it's just made public, like I don't think there's an easy way for us to give you access while it's locked down, but like I'm sure we could come up with like something between when we like kind of market it out to the larger public. It'll end up being kind of a button on transportation front page, that allows everyone to kind of explore the crashes. But
Yeah, well, and there's,
this is not something we can control
I'm not
either.
trying to shatter anything, just trying to figure out like what are our next steps, because we're running out of time today, but,
Yeah, so we'll send out the info once it is public. If you have thoughts, you can reach out to me individually. We can set up like a one-on-one meeting. Meet up at a coffee shop and look at the crash fields.
yeah, and they're
But-
probably, I think that they, it isn't until you get to plan there on your questions that you get feedback on, so that's why I was asking. Have a chance to, because Daniel let me see, an alpha version of this. And I have to say, like, this looks great. It was good then, and it's awesome now. The visual indicators that make a lot of sense, with the red being the kill and then being the bigger dots. I think that was an update. And then even the display in the order looks really good. So there's a lot of things that they've been working with consultant on to get right.
Yeah, actually, and this is something
This is gonna be a serious findings.
there are
Like this,
the other thing.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
all crashes in the past 5 years.
So you can actually go in and
See, this is good. I love.
turn on the boundaries.
Yeah.
There is also a crash data heat map that replaces that, so you can really see kind of as you zoom in, it changes. It's more dynamic. So this, if you look at all crashes, then it's like they're stacked. This allows you to kind of see those weighted areas. So that's the other thing I was going to mention. This symbol means layers. Within there, you've got layer and legend. This is just basically, there's not a way to remove this tab. So we wanted the legend on the front though. So you just focus on layer, and then you can go in and, have the schools show up. This was an issue that they are going to fix. The schools kind of fade into the background when the crashes are turned on. There's high injury network intersections. I'm just going to turn it off. So you can kind of see the schools, the high injury network intersections, and then the high injury network itself. You got commission boundaries you can turn on and off.
Yeah, this is a great overview. I mean, this is so powerful. I'm wondering if we can do a little bit like a mini workshop when they get access to it that way, because I think that we'll kind of forget all this until it's in front of us again.
Yeah, and I think like what we'll probably provide to the general public at some point is kind of a video walkthrough, or like just a quick 5-minute how-to that you can watch. And again, like we kind of bypass it all, but when you refresh, there's a splash screen that pops up.
Right.
That says the origin, what is Vision Zero? ACC's partner with Safe Streets for All program, blah, blah. Use the dashboard to explore it. Then it says for the crash data, use the drop downs at the top of the page, time slider. We need to actually, adjust the language here, because like I can actually adjust the language, like it's been kind of a back and forth a lot, but this is talking about the previous iteration. So there's the layer button.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Okay,
also
so
gonna be a video that's gonna be for the public. I think that allocate more time to this in future meetings as this gets wrapped up. It's going to be an amazing, powerful tool, both for us on the commission and useful in having conversations with our elected officials and the public. And it also countering some of these ideas that may or may not be true about like what where wrecks are and what causes them, and hopefully we can get on the same page about solutions. I'm gonna go ahead and move this on to a couple minutes. Updates, and thank you, by the way, this is great. Updates from Athens Emotion Commission committees. Randy, on the policy and projects.
Yeah, the last meeting we reviewed draft, what you put together so far, Daniel?
Lane reconfiguration policy. We split the discussion into two policies. There's going to be lane reconfiguration policy and then a repaving policy. So the repaving policy really focuses on repaving as a whole and the order of operations that go through whenever there is the cycle of repaving that we experience in Athens. The lane reconfiguration policy focuses on there's multiple triggers that can trigger us to like explore whether a lane reconfiguration is warranted. And it's like you could have a capital project, like the complete streets project is $11 million. Well, we can basically, that's a good trigger to then run through this. And then it's kind of a scientific, traffic engineering approach to that also adds in a touch of humanity to like determine whether or not a corridor is like high priority lane configure, like, oh, this would be a really easy road diet, or like this is a complicated road diet, but it's feasible, or like there's no way that it would work here.
Our action out of that was, remember, if anyone was interested, see what else is out there in the wild, whatever policies exist already. And see if we can find the things.
Yeah, are you gonna meet this next month? Or are you gonna?
Well, yes, for February, we could move to Wednesday. Take a look at that. I'll get back to it.
Second week, unfortunately, I can't make it either. Regardless today, I'll be on vacation.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So it's pretty much.
What's the date?
It's the. Yeah.
Be the 11th is the Wednesday, the second Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have anything on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be away, but I mean. I'll be there. All right, anything for education communication?
Well, we were going to in the closet, but we had to reschedule because Daniel got sick. So we need to reschedule Daniel.
Thank you.
Because then we can figure out if we need to order. So.
I have some of the bike guides. I left them in my car. I'm sorry. I had to bring that box back. Okay, real quick on Prince Avenue. It sounds like the survey crews have completed the Jefferson intersection survey. Dinesh is going to begin design. Right of way has been required for Prince at First Baptist Church. Signal improvements at Pulaski intersection ongoing, and they're hoping to bid this project with the fiscal year 26 annual pavement maintenance contractor. And those are
Which project was it?
Yeah.
And there was no Lexington Road.
Okay. We'll have a meeting first for the customers. And here we got a good update. Plot on trails, there's 7 million for the green one now, we talked about that, UGA. How's it going?
Going well, a lot of cleanup, today we were out salting some, walkways and crosswalks.
Oh, no, nice.
Areas that the students can open, delayed opening until 12 o'clock, but we were there earlier. And we had staff there yesterday too. Some of it froze and then melted and refroze.
Yep.
I mean, but, we feel pretty confident now that we're getting a lot of tops of the parking garages intact. Other than that, yeah, focusing on crosswalks and sidewalks. And then just other than that, an update, last month they put in some traffic calming on the tabletops around the East Campus Ramsey Loop. They put 4 of them up, and then they put 2 or 3 over on River Road also. None of these areas actually have bicycles on them, but they are, frequently with pedestrians around. So slowing the vehicle down, I think over 4 to 50.
Yeah, great.
Driven through there several times and it has slowed things down. They actually had to put up some signs that said like speed bump ahead. People were going so fast they weren't used to speeding.
Around that Ramsey racetrack.
Isn't that outside path, is that not a bicycle multi-use path?
No police. I think it's just.
Okay. Well, no, on yeah, around Ramsey though, I'm talking,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's like a 10-12 foot wide. Well, that's along College Station Road. That's a bike path, and then it connects directly onto this, and then there's no curb cut to get off of the path, so I assume that.
It looks wider than a normal sidewalk. I just don't know. It's understood. I don't never. I'm on offices right that park.
Yeah.
I think we can see bicycles on
It'd be helpful to know where the bike paths are on campus, even for me, like as in my data. Because I think like in our data, we've been showing it as a multi-use path for at least the 10 years that I've been here.
Especially for police to know as well, so they're issuing tickets.
Yeah, I think we can still get Dan to come and talk to us.
Absolutely.
And see how that all.
It's not within the dismount zone. I do know that.
It's outside.
Yeah, so if you were riding a bike on the thing that you're not supposed to ride a bike on, you wouldn't dismount.
All right.
To tell where to dismount from.
Right.
Even though I was on campus the other day and it's like, I'm a bike and saw somebody walking the bike at the same time. The sign says I should be walking.
Okay, so at 6:01, we'll do around parting thoughts. Scott, are you here? Do you want to talk about Joyride and anything else going on with Bike Athens? You get here first.
Joyride Friday, 6 o'clock. We think it's going to be about 40 degrees, so bring some lights and layers.
Okay. All right, this Friday, get your miles in, 6 p.m. Bike Athens, bundle up. Thank you. And yeah, we'll do a quick round since we're online. Art, anything you want to say or ask?
Just all looking forward to seeing everybody in person next month.
Yeah, good to see you. Stay warm. I like your sweater.
Yeah, any final thoughts, Todd?
You said me?
Any final thoughts?
I was just curious, is the Vincent Drive, I hadn't heard anything about that in a while, the sidewalk, are we?
That project was approved, concept approved. We're in preliminary engineering. I can forward the construction plans to you. I'm literally reviewing them right now.
Okay, that's good. And the reason I was asking is, we talked to that developer that's developing the new subdivision at the intersection of Vincent and Newton Bridge. and he's agreed to put a 8-foot wide multi-use path, or he's planning to through the development to connect to the future greenway down in there and everything. So we should be eventually getting some plans on that as well. So it'll tie up the Vincent and tie all that together eventually one day.
Excellent.
Wow. Cool. Daniel, parting thought, go around the table.
Nope.
All right. Lisa.
Well, I'm loving all the data that we're getting with this new Patient Zero dashboard and these crash reports and all that. I think that even though we haven't put down a lot of cement, we've accomplished some things here.
Which will hopefully be baseline to allow us to have more data to support what we're trying to do.
Anything else, Mandy?
Nope.
That was your parting thought? Yeah. Katie?
Yeah, I don't think we keep stepping up and, starting our progress and also our signals, crash data, to solutions, to, flood after.
A question, this may be a child or member, but do we know anything more about when the Timothy Road multi-use path construction is gonna start? I've heard this year.
I think what I've heard is it's in right-of-way acquisition. So that phase is so hard to pinpoint because it kind of starts while we're still doing the final plans phase. And all of that is kind of, and then there's the utility coordination and so I believe I heard that it is in right of way. And yeah, as far as I know, it's the last thing you heard is this year. I have not heard of any delays on it. It kind of depends on the individuals living along the corridor that need to sell their right of way to us and how those negotiations are going.
Well, I've heard from one of the individuals that sold their right away. Excited to know that it's coming this year. But
Okay. I can try to remember to get an update on that on Thursday. We have a standing meeting with SPLOST now, so just maybe write that in an email to me so I don't forget.
Well, it's not a ton of money. It's nice to have some money for the greenway and this piece lost. I know that went for all the letters and signatures and going to talk to mayor commission probably wouldn't be any. So, it shows you that we will get the grease and, talking to the officials can have an impact. So,
yeah,
happy for that. And that's,
yeah. Here. Yeah, it takes public engagement.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that we have more and more of these schools coming online. Really like I'm so excited about the Vision Zero dashboard. So when people come up, they can be like, remember, I sent you, Commissioner, those crashes that you can look at for yourself. I'm very excited about those. And then also, again, about the bike audits and all those audits, like having feet on the ground and watching our excellent staff together. And I love the buy-in that those are getting with, having leader services and planning and traffic engineering and CPW. I think that makes us excited, even as these projects are taking so long to do. It gives us energy to keep on going, keep up the work. So I am frightened by what I see. All right, thank you. I'm sorry we're over. We got started a little bit late because we moved over into the war room. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting. Any all those in favor?
Hi.
Gosh,
Hi, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
No, I don't.
it was unanimous.